in proposals, you can allow members to contribute.
Thank you, Senator Kajang. Senator Kajang, you know very well, you've been in this House for long, and you know how to catch the chair's eye. And you did it when you wanted to make a point of order. And I was able to give you an opportunity to interject. The same way, if you wanted to make a contribution to any clause that we were making, we have a screen here. You should have pressed your intervention button and we would have seen you and would have given you an opportunity.
Yes.
So I think the speed or the pace we're going. Sorry, Senator Sifuna. Senator Sifuna, give him the mic.
Chair, if you can confirm from your dashboard, my button has been depressed.
It has.
And I have not been able to catch your eye. The point that Senator Kajang is making is that if you move as fast as you're doing between the proposal of the question and the putting of the question, our fingers are not that fast, trust me, Chair. And you will not even have the opportunity to look at the screen. So kindly, let us just allow members to make any contributions they have. And you pause just to, I know it's Ramadan, you can't, I was going to say to drink a sip of water, but just catch your breath, please, Chair.
Okay, Senator, thank you very much. Senator Kajwang.
Mr. Chair, thank you. And when I raised that point, it was really just to remind us of our solemn duty as lawmakers, that legislation should never be rushed. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Chair, Clause 42B seeks to put restrictions as to ownership. And it says that a person shall not acquire more than one affordable housing unit developed under this Act. And Mr. Chair, the question is this an act that is going to serve us for 1 year or 2 years, or it's an act that will serve us for the next 100 years? What time frame are we legislating on? If you put it in law and cast it in stone that a person cannot acquire more than one affordable housing unit, what if we get to the point where this project, assuming has become so successful that all Kenyans who wish to apply have applied and have been allocated housing units? Are you going to shut down the scheme? Are you going to then come back to Parliament to amend it so that the next round of Kenyans can benefit? Mr. Chair, we must be very careful with the manner in which we legislate. And we must also ensure that whenever we make amendments at the committee stage of the House, we ask ourselves whether those amendments have been subjected to public participation. I know that at the third reading stage, any member has a right to rise and to make amendments subject to certain consultations with the chair of the respective committee. But does it take away the right of the public to be part of the decisions that we make? Does it take away that constitutional responsibility to ensure that we inject the views and the voices of the public in whatever it is that we do? Mr. Chair, I think this is a fairly dangerous amendment because it is an amendment that is coming from a position of want, a position that we are in, which could be resolved or which could easily be solved in 5 years or in 10 years' time. Once the situation has been solved in 10 years' time, where every Kenyan has access to affordable housing, every Kenyan, even if they have not bought from this project, there are those who come from communities like mine. And Mr. Chair, still speaking to this amendment, I can tell you that there are certain cultural dimensions to home ownership that we do not take into account whenever we are legislating. We think that everyone comes from Singapore. We think that everyone comes from South Korea. We come from Kenya. Mr. Chair, in my community, when a boy gets to the age of 18 or 19, that boy is compelled to build his first house. That first house is called a Simba. Mr. Chair, in my community, 90% of men
Senator,
have access to houses.
If you could please summarize so that we can get a response to that
Mr. Chair,
argument.
As per the practice in this House, if there is limitation of debate, it is done before a member takes the floor. And in the committee of the whole, In the committee of the whole, Mr. Chair, we have agreed that when you propose a question, any member has a right to comment on that proposal.
Senator,
and therefore, Mr. Chair, if you would allow me, just my normal 15 minutes, if there is need for limitation of debate, that motion can be passed or that motion can be made after I've finished my submission. Those are the rules of this House. Those are not the rules of government. Those are the rules of this House. And when we are discussing a matter so important to Kenyans, we cannot be casual about application of the law, and the chair cannot be directed to commit illegalities and unconstitutional behavior.
Senator
When I
Kajang.
took the floor, I was entitled to 15 minutes to discuss the
Senator Kajang.
proposal. If any member wants to limit debate, you can only do it after I've sat down. Those are the rules of the House, and they are in this blue
Senator
document.
Kajang.
They are not in any political party document. Mr. Chair,
Senator
if you allow
Kajang.
me, in 15 minutes, I will be done with my comments on the new clause
It's not-
42B. And I will yield the
Senator
floor
Kajang, we
to
are in
other
the
members to
committee
make
of the
their
whole.
comments.
Senator Kajang, we're in the committee of the whole.
Mr. Chairman,
When you are
committee of
making
the whole,
an-
when you propose the question, all of us have a right to comment on that question. And that is why we were requesting that you go a little bit slow between proposing the question and putting the question. Mr. Chair, those are the rules of this House. Those are the rules of
What is your
debate.
point of order, Senator
And if
Cheruiyot?
Senator Cheruiyot feels outwitted, then it is what it is. These are the rules of the House.
The mic. Give me the mic. Chairperson. Mr. Chairperson, there's only one chairperson. I hope so. I hope there is only one chairperson. Protect me from hecklers in the House, Mr. Speaker. I want to address you. Mr. Speaker, I want to address you in total silence.
Let's, just one more. I should be, I
Chairperson,
will ask him. I have given him the point of order. Let him proceed. We'll listen to him in silence. I'm sure before he sits down, he will make that very clear. What is your point of order?
thank you,
Senator?
Chairperson, for protecting me. Number one, Mr. Speaker, I take great exception in the conduct of Senator Kajang. If it was another senator, I would have assumed that probably he doesn't know the traditions of this House and what we do in third reading. Senator Kajang is not only being cheeky, because I watched him when he walked into the House, and I could hear him clearly tell his colleagues that why are you guys not filibustering? I knew. Mr. Speaker, can you protect me? Mr. Speaker, I am not in a mood to engage in a heckling debate.
We will find out.
Mr. Speaker, can you protect me?
You are protected, Senator Cheruiyot.
So the point is this: Senator Kajang knows that in third reading, you try to persuade people why you are not in supportive of the proposed amendment. In a quick, witty comment, hardly beyond a minute, Mr. Speaker, and you give opportunity to the chairperson or the person that is moving that amendment to convince you why that amendment is important. This is not a debate stage, Mr. Speaker.
Senators, let us, Senate,